All right, welcome back to the show. It is now time for This Week in Anti-Semitism. It's been a while, huh?
It's been a while, and it's definitely been missed.
And as you know, the anti-Semites are watching us, so we're watching them.
That's right.
And joining us, one of our favorite contributors, America's sweetheart, Mark Zaffron. How's it going, Mark?
How are you? Good morning.
Good. He's joining us via Skype. Yes, he's joining us via Skype from New York. And it's been a while since we've done this segment, and the anti-Semites have been really productive, as you can imagine. Okay, in Egypt, they have a prank show like Punk'd, right? So they bring in celebrity Egyptians. Yep. And then they tell the celebrity Egyptians, oh, you know, guess what? This person's really with Israel or Jewish or something like that. And then the celebrities freak out.
Because now that the Muslim Brotherhood has taken over Egypt, they're going to abnegate their treaty with Israel, and there's going to be a war.
The name of the show is Al-Khum Ba'ad Al-Ozwala, Judgment After a Prank, okay? And basically one of the guys they were punking, he freaked out and beat up the producers because he thought they were Israelis and that he was on an Israeli TV show. And I guess that would destroy his reputation.
Now they're messing with comedy, Mark.
This is comedy, yeah, this is a comedy show.
They're trying to do it's the guise of comedy.
James, like there was nothing from the Olympics. The British didn't do anything anti-Semitic during the Olympics other than not honor the Munich athletes. I mean,
it's good you bring up the Olympics.
Forget the Arabs. We know they're anti-Semites. And the fact that we're watching them doesn't change their behavior.
Iran was thinking of boycotting the Olympics because of a Zionist conspiracy. Basically what they said was that the London Olympic logo spelled the word Zion.
These Iranians are fascinating people. You realize that, right?
Here's the logo, and here's how it spelled the word Zion. I don't know if you could see it.
You have to have special Iranian eyes for that.
This is true. So the Olympic message, it was a Zionist message, and they almost didn't go. And the logo itself.
How many medals did they win?
Iran?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Iran could only win a medal in stoning.
But there's so much going on in Egypt now that the government has changed. We really need to discuss this and be afraid. Like they've got like a popular evangelist, a cleric over there. Now here's...
Whoa. We discussed him the last time, James.
Right, we discussed him last time. And first of all, did you know he opened the American-based in Ohio Center for Islamic Research? Why always in Ohio? Why is Ohio the place where the Nazis and the Islam fundamentalists like to set up shop?
Because they can blend in.
Ohio has a history.
You would expect them to be in Detroit.
You would think so. Well, they are in Detroit.
Yeah, they run Detroit.
Let me tell you what this cleric is saying, because this is new. He's really gotten. He's really improved his act.
All right. Oh, right. So now what is it? We're poisoning the wells.
Well, Jews have committed counterfeit dollars. They're taking photos of military bases. They
really sad. These guys have not come up with a new script since the Middle Ages. They are still on their death. I'm telling you, the same script. They haven't changed it.
Well, they haven't contributed anything to the world since algebra.
Oh, they haven't contributed. You're right. They haven't contributed anything to the world since algebra. And you and I both know the truth about that. It was really a Jew who did it, and they took credit.
Of course it was a Jew who did it. Well, it says here. Let me tell you what this cleric is saying. That the Israelis are sending in girls who are HIV, they're HIV positive, actually AIDS, they have AIDS, and they're seducing young Egyptians and infecting the Egyptians.
Why in God's name would an Israeli girl want to go to Egypt to infect an Egyptian?
I'm just telling you what
you have a better chance of getting infected than being infected.
This man is a sultan.
This man's a lunatic.
He is a sultan.
A sultan.
And it gets worse. The worst thing that the Israelis are doing, they have a gang of boys, of men coming in that are seducing young boys in Cairo.
Well, that's more apt. I suspect that they like that better.
They might, but this is what he's telling the Egyptians, and then the shows.
James, what he tells the Egyptians is not really important. It's the fact that they believe this crap. They eat words. These people can survive on rhetoric. They sustain themselves with words and hatred.
Okay, but you watch TV, like here in America, we watch a lot of doctor shows and a lot of criminal shows, and you think that there are a lot of cops and a lot of criminals out there, so we think that the world is more dangerous than it really is, because that's what's on TV. Crime dramas, and there's a lot of medical dramas. And the truth is, there's not that much crime. There's not that many doctors. There's not.
Whoa! I thought that mostly what we had in American TV were reality shows, and all the world is populated by Kardashians.
That's the new thing. Everybody thinks they could have a show and become famous. But what I'm saying is, if on Israel TV, all the kids and the people are seeing are shows like this, then there's very little hope.
This is Arab reality television. They bring the cameras into Gaza, they show all the slums, and they say, the Israelis did this to us. But when the Israelis left the Gaza Strip and left them those beautiful kibbutzim, everything, what did they do? They destroyed it. So that's reality TV in Gaza Strip.
Well, I just think that having that on the television, the people believe it. If all they see is people attacking people and freaking out because they think a Jew is in the room, listen, this is the problem. They believe it because they want to believe it. They believe it because it makes them feel better. Why do people watch train wreck shows on television? Why do Americans love American reality television? Because they love a train wreck. They love to believe that these people's lives can be lived by them. Well, it's the same thing there. They love to watch this because they want to believe that the Israelis are doing these horrible things, because it's a very easy explanation for why their lives are so horrible. And it takes attention away from the fact that they live in dictatorial countries where they're artificially kept down. Speaking about how antiquated and hacky this Sultan is, I'll tell you the last thing he said, and this has been around since for 2,000 years. He also is saying that the Zionists are making their Pesach matzah from the blood of Christian children. How hacky is that?
And I suppose that he also is the co-author of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. That's what I said. These guys haven't changed their script since the Crusades. And what scares me is that this Arab Sultan is taking a leaf out of the book of the Crusaders, who are their worst enemy.
The last story. This is in Brooklyn. You might have heard this because you're over there in New York. The Holocaust Memorial over there in New York City, the only public Holocaust memorial, was the target of some anti-Semitic vandalism. They wrote the F word next to the Jewish star and a couple other things too.
Swastikas, that's no big deal. We're used to that there.
They're used to it.
Yeah, when I grew up, that's all they know how to do. It's the same thing. The swastika, the F word, they come up with nothing new. You notice they can't come up with a catchy slogan.
Maybe we could come up with one for them.
Come on. The swastika, the Nazis stole it from the Indians, and now what do we have? Anti-Semitic Indians painting it all over Midwest?
They're hacks. They're like a bunch of open micers.
They are. They are like a bunch of hacks.
All right, Mark Zafran, thank you very much
so much
over there from New York on the Skype. We appreciate it. We will, of course, have you in studio hopefully next week or sooner.
If you're not too busy.
If you're not too busy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, good night. Mark Zafran, ladies and gentlemen, America's sweetheart, the finest commentator on anti-Semitism. Sometimes he's very hypercritical about these stories, but I really thought it was necessary to talk about this this rise of anti-Semitism in the Arab world.
How can it get any higher?
Exactly.
How high can you get? Come on.
Well, it's getting worse in Egypt, and that's the main idea here, is that it's getting worse in Egypt. And Egypt was a friend of Israel, and now with the Muslim Brotherhood taking over, you got that Sultan.
That's Sultan.
He's in Sultan. That's Sultan, and you got
Sultan's throwing insults. Now we got prank. Now they're trying to do.
The prank show is great.
An Arab candid camera? I mean, like, this is funny. They could probably have things going on, like having men in the ladies' room, but you can't tell because they're all wrapped up.
But the funny thing is, like on an American candid camera show, you have different pranks every week, right? Like you never know what's going to happen. You've seen Punk, you've seen Candid Camera. It was clever stuff, right? On their Candid Camera show, the punch every week, the joke is that you're in a room with Jews. I mean, that's it. That's the joke every week. It's like, hey, welcome, have a seat. They start talking, by the way, this is from the Israeli embassy. And then the guy freaks out, and all of the people in Egypt are laughing and clapping. So it's the same joke every single week.
They should have a new reality show called Stoned. That's what they should really should be stoned.
Well, you know, we could talk about some Mideast justice. I mean, you think going to the tombs in New York City, I mean, you steal something in some of these countries, they chop off your hands, they stone you to death. They stoned a woman and her baby recently.
I used to receive all this footage when I first came out to LA that showed women being stoned, and my friends would say to me back east in Jersey, why are you forwarding this to us? You know, this is what they do. As George would say, this is how they live. And I said, no, this is different. This is in Detroit, all right? This is happening here in America. And what I found so fascinating is that the men, while the woman's being stoned, they're all videotaping with the phones, with their cell phones, and they have the same cell phone I did.
They love a good, people have always loved a public hanging or a public stoning. It's a big draw. It's like...
We're in
like
America.
The Yankees are in town, you know? It's big.
I know, but we're in America now, and it's got to stop. And we have to, that's where it has to stop, the racism and all that stuff. We got to help these women.
And don't think it's not happening in America. There are people in America doing honor killings. There are people in America, probably in your state, in your county, stoning and doing honor killings, and it happens all the time in America.
Well, in Patterson, I'm sure they got some action going on.
In my apartment. Okay, just kidding. All right, we got to take a break.
All right.
All right,
well,
we'll be right back.